Hey, Warren Eckstein here. We've talked about fleas in the past, and I've done some videos on fleas, but I want to get a little bit more deep into how do we really get rid of fleas in our house. And basically, I call it get a jump on fleas before they get the jump on you. I wrote it all down for you guys, so I don't want to miss anything. Let me just start out with this. How much do you know about fleas? I'm going to teach you things about fleas you may never even have heard of before. Listen carefully. Flea saliva is actually called the most irritating substance known to man. If you've ever been bitten by a flea, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Number two, listen to this. Flea can accelerate 50 times faster than the space shuttle takeoff. Yeah, go ahead, try to catch one. 50 times faster than the space shuttle, the flea can jump. Fleas can jump 150 times their length, equal to a human being, you or me, jumping 1,000 feet. And here we go. Fleas can carry tapeworm, typhus, allergic reaction. We know that. One female flea can produce over 200,000 eggs in just 60 days. So there's some amazing facts about fleas. So now that you know those facts, what can you do about it? There are several ways to approach it. First of all, prevention is the most important thing. Treating the pet and not treating the environment is counterproductive. You need to treat the environment and the pet at the same time. I also found over the years that fleas are much more attracted to dogs and cats that may not be in perfect shape. By that I mean they may have dry skin. Fleas live on blood alone. That's their diet, blood, 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 blood. So what happens is if your dog or cat has really dry skin, it makes it real easy for the flea to burrow in. So you want to make sure your dog and cat are in really, really good health. Keeping that skin in good health is really critical as well. Brushing on a regular basis is critical also. But here's what I do. One of the things I've been using, God, it's been invented since the 1800s, I think, is the flea comb. You take a flea comb, they're available at Amazon, Chewy, wherever you get flea products. The flea comb is great because you can actually run it through the dog or cat. You can see the fleas on the comb. Then I usually dip it in alcohol to kill the fleas, and that's what I do on a regular basis. So it's just another arsenal in your defense against fleas is pick up a good flea comb. So how do you know if your dog or cat has fleas? There are several ways to tell. You can tell if they're itching like crazy. But rolling them around in a white towel is one of the best ways. I call it the white towel test. I've talked about it before. If you take your dog or cat and roll them around in a white towel, you notice some black specks. Take those black specks, put them on a moist paper towel. If there are fleas or if that is flea eggs, or flea droppings rather, it will turn red because they eat blood, so their poop is red. So put the black drops from the towel on a paper towel that's moist. After they turn red, you know you got a flea problem. So that's one of the things. Okay. So that white towel test is really important. Now, how do you treat? There are several things you can do. A lot of people use the products that you put between the shoulders, and some are good and some have had problems, but I would follow your vet's advice on those, but don't be afraid to question them as well. The other thing that's really, really important is to make sure, when people have their dog or cat has fleas, they go crazy. They run to the pet store and they buy flea spray and flea powder and flea bath and a flea collar and this and that and the other thing. They come home and in a day or two, their dog or cat is either dead or glowing. So it's important not to overuse or put all these things together, and make sure you read labels really, really carefully. That is absolutely critical. So there are things, you have to make a choice. What do you want to do? How are you going to approach it? Are you going to approach it a natural way? Are you going to approach it using the drops between the shoulders? Some of those drops between the shoulders are really great, and they really do work, and they're amazing because they actually, what they do is they prevent the fleas from breeding, which is obviously important. But some people want to make a homemade flea spray. Years ago, when I was really down and out and poor, I would make my own flea spray. How would I do that? Well, I would take like maybe 10 slices of lemon or maybe some grapefruit or even an orange. I would boil it up, take that, strain it, mix it with water, and I would put that in a spray bottle, and that was my flea spray. Fleas are not thrilled about having citrus with them. So that's one of the things you can try. But again, I mean this seriously. If you go to the pet store and you're frustrated, don't buy all these products and put them on your dog. That can be very, very dangerous. So you can make homemade. Now, there are companies out there. One of the companies you hear me talk about is NatureVet. They make an herbal flea spray as well. Because many of the flea sprays contain chemicals that may not be too healthy for your pet. But what about the environment? How do you treat the environment? If your dog or cat spends some time outside in the yard, you need to treat the yard as well. It's a little bit more difficult. If you can afford it, maybe getting a professional exterminator using non-toxic approaches to flea control. I have one that comes to my house every month. He sprays the backyard, non-toxic, sprays the front yard, takes care of the outside of the house, really makes it careful, and really does a great job as well. I've never had a flea problem since I've been doing it. Now, what about in the house? You've heard me talk about flea collars before. I am not a flea collar fan. I don't believe in flea collars. I don't think they should be used. However, there is a use for a flea collar, and here it is. If you use a vacuum cleaner, and if you have a flea scenario in your home, you should use a vacuum cleaner every day to vacuum up the fleas and the eggs. But once you vacuum them up, they check in and they check right out. So here's what I recommend you do. Get a flea collar. Don't put the flea collar anywhere near your dog or cat. What I would do is take the flea collar, cut it into small pieces, and take that flea collar and put it in your vacuum cleaner bag. Why? This way, when you vacuum up the environment in the house, if you do vacuum up fleas and flea eggs, they're not going to get out. They're not going to escape. They check in, as they say, they don't check out. So it's really important from a flea perspective. Fleas can cause a lot of illnesses in our dogs and cats, and we often joke about it. I've lived in situations overseas in here where I've been infested with fleas and ticks myself. So it's a horrible scenario. There are things you can do, but just remember, be safe. If you have questions, speak to your veterinarian. And if you're not sure that your veterinarian is giving you the right advice, question them. Say, what's the success rate on this product that you're recommending? Can I use it with this? Can I use it with that? So we want to keep your dog safe. We want to keep your cats healthy and happy. Follow my advice, and again, I know you never heard this before, but again, let me just go over this. A flea saliva has been called the most irritating substance known to man. It's true, believe me. And this one really, really gets to me. Well, actually these two, I said these earlier. 50 times faster than the space shuttle at takeoff, and they can jump 150 times their length. So, when the world comes to an end, folks, let me advise you about this. Your dogs and cats won't have fleas if you take my advice, but when the world does come to an end, two things will be alive: cockroaches and fleas. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm Warren Eckstein.